This is Damien Lynch, Parallel North. I got a hold of Friends and Family MMA, and they allowed me to come in and take a peek inside the hole where they train, getting ready for a super card coming up on Saturday the 18th, 2014, down in Traverse City at Streeters. That's Dean and Jeff. Dean on top, Jeff under. Doing a little just Dean getting ready for his match. He's got a fight coming up, and they're just doing some light training. This is very exclusive footage. Most fighters do not allow anybody inside their training facilities, let alone to bring in video cameras and picture taking. These guys are pretty good. They're actually really good at what they do, and I'm going to lay out for a second and let you just take a look at a little bit of the mat action here. That's Jeff on top, Dean on the bottom. These guys have been going at it for a long time. It's hot in there. I just want to tell you, it was hot inside that garage. And that garage is a legitimate training center. You go in there and you feel tough. I mean, I could see it being a great hole to get intense in. There you see Dean putting a great hold on there. It looks like a over the top. Looks like it's just more of a stabilizing hold there, but gonna these guys do a lot of training and just, you know, being in holds, not panicking in the hold, trying to get out of the hold, learning how to get in and out. You know, this is a legitimate training here for being prepared for the fight coming up on the 18th down at Streeters in Traverse City. The Friends and Family MMA have been doing this quite a while. Brandon's a tremendous athlete. These guys train hard. I've seen Matt G. We had Matt G and Jeff on the show back in the early part of spring. They did one of the sit downs with me, and we're just kind of following up on it. These guys are constantly training. You see them out and around. They're usually running or riding bike or just doing their thing. But they'll go at it for a while. We've got a little bit of free weights in there. Obviously a mat you can see there. They got a little off to the left of the camera. There's a little sparring area for some agility, hand on hand. Looks like they have a little Aerodyne wind machine bicycle, and there's a hanging bag. There's a 40-pound flipping bag, and a lot of the gear to take the hits. These guys train safe. They cleaned the mat before they went down on it. I mean, they do the best they can to just be as professional as possible. It was interesting to see how hard these guys train and what they put themselves through, and they do work. I mean, you know, this is definitely what I would call a very glorified hobby with a tremendous amount of commitment. Jeff's very good, and he's a guy on the bottom. He takes a lot of the, you know, he goes in and he'll wrestle anybody, any size. He knows the science and the holds and the maneuvers, the escapes and the submissions, and he's a real great guy to chain with. I'm privileged to actually get some footage on it for you, just to give you a little insight on what it is to be a local MMA fighter. There really is no minor leagues for wrestling and MMA. You know, these guys that you see on the TV, they come out of training facilities like this. I mean, it's a make it or break it gig. There isn't a minor league. You're either in the category you're in, or you're in Vegas. So it's like these guys, there's an opportunity out there. And it is individual sport, so one person can be a team, you know. I mean, nobody's slowing you down. I got to go up, got the call early from Matt, and we was talking. He was a little skeptical about getting me, letting me in, as from bringing in cameras and showing this stuff and the technique and how these guys train. But we want to say thank you to the Friends and Family MMA for allowing us to do this. And Matt and Dean will be on the show. We're going to be doing a sit down with them again, and they're going to give us a little insight of what the last couple events are and what the upcoming Saturday is going to be all about. They both fight in different weight classes. So we'll get a perspective from Dean, a perspective from Matt, and a little bit about their opponents and what kind of zone they're getting in and how they peak before they get there. There was a 5-minute session. These guys are tanked, just absolutely tanked. There's Matt G and Brandon. We're gonna warm it up, do a little sparring. Matt's wearing a respirator to gas himself out, to give him that fatigue factor later in the rounds. So I'm hoping to build more stamina and energy, which I thought was really cool. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Some of the techniques and the tricks that these guys use are pretty cool, and I like that. Matt G and Brandon are sparring right now. There's the respirator I alluded to earlier. It's they kind of need it to mimic that adrenaline type phase. They come in there, they're in great shape, and the anxiety and everything that's going on, just your battery starts running down, and you get in there, and everybody, in this particular business, you don't get paid by the hour. You kind of want to get in and get out, for obvious reasons. So there's a lot of energy going on, and energy takes you down, and it's kind of why they train hard. Everybody kind of wants to train, no different than any other sport, like it's the last quarter, the last few seconds. I go back to football, fourth quarter, fourth and goal, 4th and 10, fourth, just constantly, end of the game type, feeling, does this strong survive? And that's kind of what these guys are doing. They come in and they train hard. We just seen some guys just tear it up, and they're just warming up. And Brandon, he's going to push these guys. One thing about Brandon is you get in his world. I'll tell you what, that guy's a real animal. I mean, he is not kidding around. You're in his world, and he expects you guys to, or his people who's in there, to train hard, not waste his time, and to train safe. At the end of the day, you got to realize that, you got to save yourself in there. And that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration about this MMA stuff, is that, like right now, we're watching, these guys are having fun. I mean, these guys aren't looking to beat each other up. They're looking to make each other better. So they got to train hard to stay competitive and to stay safe. And, like I said, right now we're getting to very, very mild, low speed. And it's one of the only reasons why we got in there, is because this is basically a joke training session. And they know that. This is just to keep them going through the motions. This is more just to keep your psyche up. And plus, just to keep the muscle memory practice going. I mean, a lot of this is just about, blackout drive, going through the motions, just instinctively reacting, like we've all done in our own circumstance. I don't know, if you're driving down the road and you got, sometimes you got to get lucky, and you got to practice to be lucky too. So, but they're just practicing it up and having some fun. And you can see Brandon, he is definitely coaching. One thing I learned is, if anybody really wants to take something, into consideration, that you know, Brandon's a nice guy. He's definitely an approachable person. Um, you know, if you're interested in stuff like this, I don't know what the Fight Family's up to, but if you got your hearts in the right spot and you want to train hard, these guys do it. We're just catching them on a real low day, and it's kind of fun to get in here and kind of eavesdrop on these guys and see what they're up. I'm gonna lay out and check this out. Matt G's training it hard. He is training hard. He's focusing a lot. He's keeping the respirator on. He's trying to gas himself out. You can see the fatigue in. And Brandon, it's not. He wants him to keep going. He's telling him, I like this. And there's Jeff in the background. He's just warming back up. He's going to put on a clinic for us here in a few. So just stay tight. These guys are just training. They're going through the practice of, being ready to do what comes natural in a situation, and that's kind of what this training is all about. And you can see that we're having some fun too. There's a lot of fun going on, and that's kind of what this training is. It's no different than any other game day situation. Their game day is Saturday. And that's pretty much it. Now, showing up, I got to be honest, the meathead in me, I'm guilty. Anybody who knows me knows that I would love more than anything to do any of this stuff. But that's a whole other reason. I digress quickly. But I'm going to get a little sample of this. I'm going to get a little education here just to show you that the average guy that thinks he's tough and thinks he's going to do this, there is a little science and training to this gig. And Brandon's not impressed with me at all. I really think the guy wants to just take me out. But here we go. As you can see, I don't train at all. I just coming up here. I'm really kind of ultra casual. I kind of got the call, and I decided just to get up there, and we run some of the crew, and we went in, and you can see that I'm not smooth. I'm an ambidextrous athlete too. You know what I mean? I go both. I go to the right and to the left. No problem at all, and he's trying to make me to commit to one style, and like most things in life, I just want to kind of do it my own way, and he's telling me that we got to do it the right way, and I like that. Truth be told, I just wanted to attack him and see where it went. But that's it probably would end up me in a pretzel. These guys are animals, and what happens when you poke an animal or you back them into a wall. But it was a lot of fun, and it was. I mean, this is some of the stuff that we're looking to bring you here on Parallel North. It's a whole different demographic of what's going on inside the real world we live in, and what's going on around the area. And these guys are great athletes, and they're going to headline a card down in Traverse City and give you a little take of what it is like to actually be an MMA fighter and to have a dream and try to, try to get out there and push it, and you gotta admire that. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. If you're following, something that you desire, I like it, and we're always here to give you a platform to push yourself out on. But Brandon is really being cool and taking his time out and showing me a little insides, and I don't know if he thinks he sees maybe I can get it, but I do appreciate it. It's been kind of fun. I haven't had gloves on, and there those guys are, and here we go. And they were kind enough to let me play around and have some fun and not tie me up in the knots and make me a punching bag. So it was great, and it's a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. These guys are great. There's a little bit of exercise and just running over the basics, and him, making me almost inspired. And there's Jeff and Dean. They're going to put on a show, and I'm going to film it live. This is Damian Leish from Parallel North, bringing you some ground and pound action by Jeff and Dean, and you're going to see some beautiful judo and some real ground and pound. I'm going to lay out, and let's just watch the video, and then these guys do their thing. That's Dean on top and Jeff under. Dean is preparing for his fight on Saturday. When these guys go, they go hard. This is really low speed, just holds and maneuvers. Basically, the lockdown of the show. How to make sure you get it cinched. There's a tap out. You get caught. One thing about this sport is that it's legit. You get caught, you could be in some serious trouble, dire straits. And Jeff's going to push him a little bit here. He's going to turn it up a notch. He's going to give, it's still slow, but it's just a little, as you can see. There's the bag in the corner. The throw down. There's another tap out. Beautiful tap out. Great side choke. I mean, that's tough to get out, because the more you wiggle, the more it gets locked in. I mean, these guys are getting coached on too. There's always a little bit of, nobody wants to be the guy to lose per se, but at the end of the day, Jeff is there to help Dean be better at what he's doing, and allowing Dean to do a lot of his holds and maneuvers. And once again, this is raw, rare footage. You don't see this. I don't care where you go and look. This is very unusual for anybody who's a professional or aspiring to be a professional, to let anybody see their style of training or regiment. So if you're kind of wondering, wow, this is just a couple guys rolling around, from the perspective of what this video is being brought to you by, this is some very raw footage of what it is to be an MMA fighter and what you must go through to be a fighter that makes the pay window. Because if you don't win, you don't get paid. And like I said, as you can see, Jeff is just great at what he does. The guy is mega elusive. He can get in and out. I mean, yeah, you just watched him walk it out. I mean, these are low speed, Dean's got his hands full, and he's handling it. There's Jeff on top of Dean. You know, and that's what Dean needs. Dean, and this is exactly why they're doing this, is because you can get in these situations, and most people want to give up, but that's not on. There it is. See, that's not on the business of what we're doing. We don't give up, and just kind of where it's at. They'll ground it out, and basically they'll just put it on the mat, and basically what you're seeing is just a perfect example of practice grappling at a low speed, and just keeping to the fundamentals and staying warm and keeping that muscle memory going for the fight for Saturday, because you know, when it's all said and done, this slow speed dance is going to be a very high speed, you know, high impact, large caution situation, and that's what it's all about. I mean, we've all watched these matches where sometimes they're over in seconds, and sometimes they go to the rounds. And back to you know, Matt G hitting the respirator. I mean, you need big gas tank, a lot of heart, and the will and the patience to ride out the hard times to overcome the battle. And like you see, you can. This is just a perfect example of just hanging in there, like we all must do in different categories of our lives. Not big into the violence unless it's necessary, but I do like the competition and the science involved in this, and just the sheer, you know, it's eye candy. There's a lot going on, and sometimes there's not a lot going on, but it is kind of fun, and that's what it's all about. And this is inside the studios of you know, Parallel North, allowing us to come in and bring this to you, because Matt G and a couple of these guys are willing to let us roll it that way. You know, Dean and Jeff and Brandon especially, allowing us to take in some of their styles, and you know, how they train, and a little bit of, you know, what a real light practice is. And as you can see, a light practice is still a pretty heavy day there on the mat. That's the hurt face, and that's a lot of stress in those faces. And they're pushing it out there. And you want to follow the action, they'll be on the sit down tomorrow. We'll be doing a sit down interview with Dean and Matt G, and that's pretty much it. They're extremely tanked. That's a tremendous fight, or sparring session, that we just got privileged to see in. Little ground and pound, little wrestling action, and there it is. Parallel North. Stay tuned for the next time. Thank you for joining. Have a great time, and see you at the fights.